Hey guys, how are you? Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Good morning. Thought I'd do it a little different. I just wanted to talk to you while I'm driving. You can look at me or listen to me. Either which way, you're going to get some knowledge and some information today. Apologize for my voice being a little harsh. Hoarse. H-O-A-R-S-E. Not horse. H-O-R-S-E. You can enunciate. Horse. Allergies are a mess here. I'm sure if you're on either coast or anywhere in the world as the spring season comes by, you might suffer from allergies, and that is typically because the pollination or germination of pollen, plants are trying to spread out their seed, if you will, for lack of better terms. Today, folks, we're going to discuss something very critical to your desires in life. Did a video the other day about what inspires you. It doesn't matter if you play sports. It doesn't matter if you want to be wealthy. It doesn't matter if you want to have smart children. Whatever you set a goal for in life, so too must come your commitment to your success. Your commitment to your success is paramount in order for you to be successful. You might equate this to the measure of discipline that Don Coates has talked about before. But something is required of you. Maybe not always in the sacrifices. I'll say that. I've said that in other videos, that a sacrifice is required, but at the same time, you have to be committed to your success. A lot of times people interact with me, and it's funny because I'm at a point in my life where I have friends that come up to me, family members that interact with me, and it's just at a level where I gain enough success that I'm not for free anymore. I know my value. I've accomplished enough that if people are coming to me, they're looking to me for them to get their success, but they need to get their success from themselves, by themselves. Not that I won't assist or help them, but at the same time, if you do not have your ducks in a row, if you do not have the necessary foundation for success, then what can I do? This is something that we call back down south, people halfway doing stuff, or it's really called half-assing things. I mean, everybody's stopping down because they got to watch. If you want to do that, man, go pull. And see this on this other side of it, right behind me, massive amounts of traffic because a car currently, I guess, got, I don't know, thing outside, swipe, whatever. It's an accident. People on this side is slowing down. It's a whole guardrail, and people got to watch. Everybody's spectating. So, like I was saying about, you have to lay the foundation by doing your research and your homework, man. Something my father used to say all the time. My father was great at sayings, but never really gave me the process. That's something that's a bad thing. That's just a different style of maybe how he was taught. And how I was taught was just the saying, the mantra, if you will, the slogan. But sometimes at a young age, the slogans or the sayings or the parables, these sentences of wisdom, they don't always hit their mark because not everyone, as we know, learns or understands the same way. So what I'm going to do is give you the saying, excuse me, and the application. And that is because sometimes people need to understand the process. And when I say the foundation, you need to learn to build your foundation. It means that if you are doing something related to business, then you got to have a business plan. Do you always need a business plan? No. But when you have something that you're doing that is going to involve other people who have businesses themselves interacting with you, funding or giving you seed capital When you go to people who have commas in their bank account, commas, more than one, sometimes even one is good enough. Because you could be at 999,000 and you only have one comma, right? You need just $1, borrow $1, and you're a millionaire. But spend $1, you still got that one comma. You could be at that point still. For people who $10,000, $20,000 is nothing to give away. And again, what they got to listen to is your plan. What is your plan to win? What is your plan to be successful? People are heavy on ideas and low on action. People are heavy on ideas and they're low on a plan. I apologize for the sun. When I started Ancestry Lands, the idea was to supplement my income as a nurse. It was never to be an independent businessman. That was the idea. It was not the plan. The plan was to learn how to buy land, how to identify properties, how to identify areas that are good for investing. An area that's up and coming. I didn't want to be where everyone. I wanted Disneyland when it was still a swamp before we knew what it was now. Because again, the idea was to create value through ownership. The plan was to implement it. And the base requirements of being successful, the base requirements of having that plan were always the same thing. Being consistent, persistent, and always doing, putting the foot on the ground, not lip service. At a channel that's at 82,000 subscribers, plus or minus as I speak today, there's an enormous amount of daily work that you can look from the videos posted on Ancestry Lands since we posted our first property. And YouTube started 3 years after I started buying and selling properties. So I wasn't even on YouTube when I was already creating a name for myself. When you could say my name and people would know about it, or it started rumbling or bubbling up in small places, that's where it started at, before I became a YouTube presence. And all I did with YouTube was just expand and create a wider audience that I could reach. And when I go and ask people, do you have a business plan? What's your outline? Do you have an outline for what you're going to do? And a lot of people, 20 years later from being a kid, they're still in, I've got an idea. I've got a great idea. One of the things that I'll talk about some in my personal life that, caused some friction between my wife and I is that she was all bought and sold on Etsy, the online market where you can create stuff. And the first thing I did was when she came to me, she had all this excitement about it. What she could do, this and that, the possibilities are endless. They are very much endless. And the first thing I asked her is, okay, but what's your business plan? And again, that stopped and took all the wind out of her sails. Because again, if Mark Cuban or Barbara Cochran, or what's this guy's name? Larry. I think it's John Leary, Mr. Wonderful. I don't like calling man that. It's just crazy. But that gentleman and Damon Johnson, the guy Dick Fubu, and a host of others. The lady did QVC or Home Shopping Network. The other lady, forgive me, I don't know her name offhand. If those sharks came up and questioned you in the same way, if you couldn't spell out something in a business plan, if you could answer those simple questions on how they ask other business owners, they ask peering questions. They pierce into their business plan, their ideas to assess whether they have a thriving or maybe a business that they're unsure about, because they wouldn't give their money towards that. And again, if I wouldn't invest in your business because it's not a good business plan, Not because I'm somebody who just doesn't support people. If I wouldn't invest in your business with time, energy, or attention, my attention to it, or even money, if I wouldn't do that, then, or if you could convince a shark to give you money to help build your business to grow it to the next level, then why should I be any less qualified? And that's what I'm talking about, committing to my success. And part of that is when people seek you out for your expertise or your knowledge grown, you have to be firm with the fact that, hey, man, I don't mind giving you a little bit to help you out, but I'm not for free. I'm not. I'm not at the point where my value is such that I need for others to give me an opportunity in order for me to be successful. And that's one thing I'm trying to say to you about committing to your success. When you commit to your success, other people will try to get you to make them successful because you are successful. They're looking for your level of commitment to figure out, how can I achieve that too? Good. That should come at a price that benefits you, because again, my time as a father of 3 is not my own. Rarely do I have time, and I had this discussion with my wife, and I'll go back to the Etsy story in a minute. I don't have time that's my own. That's what happens when you become a parent. I work with people all day that disgust me about the fact that they have chosen to become a parent, and their child is now an inconvenience for them and their selfish, worthless life. And when I say worthless, is that I don't see them accomplishing anything on a greater scale other than reproducing and passing on genetic material. So what? You're a nurse. There are millions of nurses on this planet. It's not like you're Florence Nightingale going out to the battlefield. You work in an air-conditioned office with heat, and at the same time, you've been given all the technology to administer treatment to people. You haven't created one thing. You haven't employed people. You haven't done anything to move the needle and make humanity move forward. Nor have you supported anyone else's lives other than you getting supported. You're not going to leave a legacy of anything other than what has been done before you in a different time period now. And they talk about their children, the children they chose to have, because there are contraceptive methods if you don't want to have it, about the inconvenience to them and their immature lives. Pompous princesses. And again, my time is not my own. So when people want to take me away from my time, away from the masters of my time, which is my family, then they have to pay me for it. And the price keeps on rising. And again, people that understand good business understand that this is principle to dealing with someone whose time you're asking for. And a friendship's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. Absolutely not enough. That's not enough to continue to build a relationship on when there are other priorities at stake here. It is not. So my wife, when I ask her these questions, of course, I come off as the monstrous husband who doesn't become supportive. And again, that doesn't sway me. Because if me asking that one question is enough to bring you down to the emotional level of me not being supportive, then you couldn't stand up to a shark from Shark Tank with that same energy. Because they're going to ask you way worse questions than I do. And they're going to say, I'm out. And if they're out, why should I stay in? All that means to me is that you're using our relationship to get your support, when realistically, this is just business. It's one of the things that I remember as a young man about watching the show The Wire, when it came time for Avon Barksdale to decide on whether he was going to give up Stringer Bell. And HBO's not paying me anything for this, but I think it's a wonderful show if you watch The Wire. Very beautifully written. It's also been called a masterpiece. But at the point where Avon had to decide on whether he was going to keep his business contacts or he was going to give up Stringer Bell, played by Idris Elba, he had to decide on whether he was going to give up him to be, to be taken off the chessboard, because he had done so many things that his decisions were going to affect Avon's decisions or Avon's relationship with business. So he had to decide to protect or to give him up as a sacrifice. And one of the things he said as he made this decision is not personal, it's business. So when you're dealing with people in a business manner, you have to eliminate the relationship status that you have with them, even if it is your spouse. Because again, they want you to support them, but at the same time, would a bank loan them money? Could they go and get funding for their idea? Now, I could have got the funding for creating Ancestry Lands, but Ancestry Lands actually has a business bank account with money in it. Not, I've got access to business credit, business lines of credit. There's an EIN, but there's also a Duns and Bradstreet number. So again, these are things that are markers that this is a real business that banks can say, this person is committed to success. These are the requirements for you to enter the realm where you can be successful, or you got a hobby that you call in a business. But again, it took that commitment. I was continuously learning. Sometimes I failed, and other times I succeeded. But the journey of learning is what got me here. While other people sat and played Xbox at night, I was sitting up at my table working and learning my craft. When my wife said, come to bed, she saw how committed I was to this business, and now she's seeing how just that business gives me opportunities to sponsor my son's baseball team, to have the Melody Market events that I've gone to interview vast people who've been on the channel. And again, it's not a look at me, it's do as me to have my success, listen to me, to follow my wisdom, apply the things that I'm saying, because you too will be successful. There's no real secret to success. What it takes is hard work and consistency. Shaolin monks train every day. What do? They create discipline and consistency through training. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't get that way just because, per most women, he's a handsome looking guy. He got it because he's training. Day in and day out, he's training. He's making mistakes and improving upon his mistakes, to the mistakes are such a low margin that he's considered a GOAT, the greatest of all time. Same thing with Michael Jordan. I keep reiterating these points because, again, when you practice with a certain level of intensity, when you're committed to eliminating or minimizing the level of mistakes that you make, you're going to get to become successful after a while. You will become successful after a while. Results may vary per person, per industry. But I know one thing. If you're sitting down playing the latest one of Modern Warfare, and all you invest your time in is going to work, coming home, and thinking that 401k or that pension plan may or may not be enough, it probably won't. If you're still living off a dream of how good you look when you were 20, and thinking that's what it's going to be, you probably won't. If your level of commitment to your success is doing everything up until it gets hard, are you going to be successful? You probably won't. Probably won't. I'm going to say definitely won't, but I'm going to say probably won't, because some people, even a broken clock is right twice a day. But again, how much are you going to commit to your success? And I say that not to talk about anybody. I say that to talk about the errors that are made that I learned from the people that I interact with. The people that come to me, and I look at these things and I say, why don't you have this in place? Why don't you have that in place? And I ask these questions, and I always tell them, hey man, look, or hey, look, lady, if I'm a nurse by trade and I didn't do 20 years in a business, and I'm just a guy who got lucky in business, if I could sniff this out, there are sharks in the world that are going to be able to sniff that out even more. It's blood in the water, and one drop they could smell from a mile away, and they stay away. You can't attract big numbers when, again, you don't have the right bait. Let me say that again, because I just dropped a jewel on you. You cannot attract big fish if you do not have the right bait. You got bait for lake fish, and you're trying to catch deep ocean water fish. It is never going to work. You got the wrong bait. And if you're too cheap to go out and get the right bait to get the right fish, then I'm sorry. You don't need to fish here. You're at the wrong body of water. Go back, like TLC said, go back to those rivers and lakes that you're used to. Mom, you got to stop doing this, Mom. I'm recording the video. If I'm not picking up, it means you missed your window of opportunity. I love my mom, but at the same time, she has an opportunity. We make appointments. She's got to hit them. If she doesn't hit them, I'm doing something else. I'm on to recording. I'm making this video now. I give people opportunities. They pass up. That's it, which brings me to the other part. Back to my wife with the Etsy thing. So again, am I moved by her emotional chagrin right now, her charge of me not being supportive? No. Me being supportive means that, if you want to do it, fine, but I don't have to buy into your idea no more than a business or a bank doesn't have to loan you money. Because if they don't feel it's going to be successful, it's not. Because realistically, what's happening is she wants me to sign on for an opportunity in which she may or may not fail. But again, I know, do you have the discipline, the commitment to be successful? And if you're not, because you're a person that when it gets hard, you tend to drop everything and walk away, well, there's no reason for me to invest in that. Come on, lady, just dip over to the side a little bit. It ain't that hard. I don't even understand this right here. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. People still double park in 2024. Creating all sorts of traffic problems. So, and again, if you lead with excuses, then you'll end with excuses too as well. And again, it should not be my approval that is the thing that you need in order to be successful. You don't need me to say, hey, good job, Mr. Viewer or Mrs. Viewer. You're successful in order for that to be true. And much people think when they came and they helped or they chipped in along the way to assist me at a later point when Ancestry Lands was already well developed, they forget that when I asked them for a loan and they had collateral, I already had the money to pay them back. When people say they gave Phillip Davis 10, 20,000, ask him did they not get paid back 22. Because when I went to ask for people, I already had the funds. What I needed was a cushion. I appreciated the help, but don't act like you did a damn thing for me because I already had it. What I was looking for was to get more. And if you're instrumental upon that, then you would facilitate that happening so you can make your interest. But you can't say you do things out of love when you're dealing with business. The two are separate, very separate. What you're hearing is my mother call me because she wants to talk to me. But again, I'm doing business right now. My mother knows what time I go to work. She knows what time I do these drives, which is why sometimes you get a video in the afternoon. My mother and I do talk. Yes, we do. So, if she misses that window, she's going to keep trying to call, but she can't right now because I'm committed to this video. I love you, Mom, but I ain't got time for you right now. Sorry. And that's how you got to be. I'm not going to get off the phone take a call because my mom is calling. Again, no, I'm committed to finishing up this trail of thoughts. So I say to you again, how is your level of commitment? What are you going to do to show people that you're committed to your success? And it's done by showing them action. Your commitment to your success will be revealed by your actions. When I talk to my kids about them skipping, I say, great. Now you got to show, okay, you skipped a grade, great. And I'm very proud of my children for skipping. I so am. It's not something that you do in an area where I live that it is a small thing. It's not. Believe me, it is not. In an affluent area, African-American children, my children are African-American to me. I know their mother's white, but if Obama was black with a white mom, then my kids are black with a white mom too as well. So if they're achieving that way, they skip where Asians didn't skip, where other whites didn't skip. The principal said in 17 years, that has not happened in 17 out of the 20-something years he's taught. It's been that long, almost 2 decades. And it didn't happen once, but it happened twice in the same household. How rare is that? In the same year, no less. And everybody told me that boys were harder. Well, my boy did it. My daughter did it first, and he followed right up after. And he's 2 years. Actually, he did it better because he did it earlier. He's 2 years younger than her. And he qualified. And I told him, that's good, but now you got to prove that you should be here. You prove that you should get there. You should be considered for skipping. That's great. Now prove you can stay. Anybody can make it to the league. Granted, like what I'm trying to say is basically, there are a lot of pro athletes that get to the league, but fewer stay there. You got a lot of guys that win the first round, but few of them have staying power as the years progress on. That's the difference. That's what I'm trying to impart upon you right there. They had a measure of success, but they got to show that they're supposed to be there. That means you got to be just as good as the student who was already there, because that's their grade. That they're in whatever grade you're going to. You got to show that you can handle this grade just like the kids who didn't skip. You got to compete with the A student that's a year ahead of you. That's who you got to compete with. And excuses are not acceptable, nor will they be accepted. And when you set that bar and your child looks at you that way and they understand that you understand that, or you understand that they got it, that excuses will not be tolerated because you are 1 year younger, and that's the reason why you're not competing. Especially when the decision was yours. So I say to you again, when you're looking to do something and you come to a person like me, and they've done it before, many of people have, I'm measuring your commitment to your success, not your commitment to creating ideas. If you want to get the big fish in life, which is the fortunate success you want, you first need the right bait, the right equipment to be able to succeed, to catch the big fish. And don't tell me you're not worried about it. Well, if you're not worried about it, hey, guess what? I'm not interested in what you're selling then. And that was the last thing with my wife, is that she was trying to sell me with her energy and I wasn't buying it. And you can't sell me on energy and hype. Busta Rhymes has a hype man, not me. I don't need a hype man. I need information, so I can make an informed decision, not an emotional one. Because again, when I said what I said, she went to her emotions. I stayed in logic. Cruel as it may be, but again, if she wanted it really bad, she would revisit it. She never talked about it afterwards. And that let me know she wasn't committed to it. Not one bit. Jeez, man, this guy. Okay. I am almost at work, folks. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands. Don't forget, folks, I'm very thankful for how far I've gotten. I tell you all the time, enjoy the journey. Enjoy it. Enjoy my journey. As you see how I'm growing, what I'm doing, how I'm evolving. You know, and again, these videos came out of being pressed for time. And they become videos that I pride myself on because, again, this is the knowledge I would give my children before they go to school. I would talk to them this way. So these are the things that I leave behind for my children to one day watch for my sons and my daughter and my grandchildren, whom I've not met yet because they're not even born. My children are still children now. Soon they won't be. And then I'll look to my grandchildren and I'll say these words of wisdom. They're not here anymore if they weren't recorded. So again, I say to you all, make sure you go on Amazon, get my book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing. Written by yours truly, Phillip Davis. I'm going to have to raise the price up on that book. Inflation is kicking people's butts. Also, folks, remember, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned to Saturdays. I am going to try to once live stream a baseball game that I am announcing. But again, opportunities multiply as they are seized. That's actually said by Sun Tzu, but I think a lot of people might have adopted it at one point or another. Make sure you own property, folks. AncestryLands.com is where you go to find the properties that are for your investing pleasure. Remember, folks, as the ambulance goes by and either someone is being rescued or someone's going to be laid to rest, remember, folks, either own property or be owned as property. Phil Davis signing off, and I'm out. Peace.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Phillip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.